My parents told me to go live in the streets at Thanksgiving. They didn't know I earned $25 million. 3 weeks later, their entire world imploded, and honestly, a part of me, the part that still smarts from their cruelty, thinks they deserved every single agonizing moment of it. Was I wrong for letting them face the consequences of their actions without intervention, even when I had the power to save them? Tell me if you would have done the same thing. It all started, as many family dramas do, with a seemingly innocuous family dinner. Thanksgiving, that sacred time for gratitude and togetherness, had become a yearly battlefield in my family. For as long as I could remember, I was the black sheep, the disappointment, the one who just couldn't quite measure up to my older sister, Sarah. Sarah, with her perfect grades, her respectable corporate job, and her perfectly curated social media life, was their golden child. I, on the other hand, was the artist, the dreamer, the one who dared to step off the well-trodden path. After college, while Sarah was climbing the corporate ladder, I was diving headfirst into the chaotic, exhilarating, and often financially unstable world of tech startups. I had a vision, a passion for developing niche software that solved very specific problems for a very specific clientele. My parents, bless their traditional hearts, saw it as a fool's errand. When are you going to get a real job, my name? My mother would ask, her voice laced with a thinly veiled disappointment that cut deeper than any shout. My father, a man of fewer words but equally potent judgments, would simply grunt and shake his head, his silence a heavier burden than my mother's nagging. For years I endured their thinly veiled jabs, their condescending advice, their constant comparisons to Sarah. I'd show up to family gatherings, my stomach in knots, bracing myself for the inevitable interrogation about my career and my future. I tried to explain what I was doing, the innovative nature of my work, the potential, but their eyes would glaze over. To them, if it wasn't a corner office and a six-figure salary from a Fortune 500 company, it wasn't legitimate. They saw my life as a series of failures, a prolonged adolescence, a testament to my inability to grow up and become a responsible adult. What they didn't know, couldn't even fathom, was that my fool's errand had begun to pay off spectacularly. My startup, after years of relentless work, countless all-nighters, and a healthy dose of luck, had secured a massive round of funding and was on the cusp of a groundbreaking product launch. The initial investment, the valuation, the projected earnings, they were figures that would make most people's heads spin. I was, to put it mildly, doing incredibly well, but I kept it quiet, partly out of habit, partly because I knew they wouldn't believe me, and partly, I admit, because a small, vindictive part of me wanted to keep it a secret until I could make an impact. I was tired of being underestimated, of being the family joke. This particular Thanksgiving, the tension was thicker than usual. Sarah had just received a promotion, and my parents were practically preening. Every other sentence began with Sarah just got, or Sarah is doing. I tried to be happy for her, truly, but the relentless spotlight on her achievements only highlighted my perceived shortcomings in their eyes. The conversation eventually veered, as it always did, to my life. My mother, with that signature sigh that could deflate a hot air balloon, asked, "So, still playing around with your little computer programs, dear?" My father chimed in, "You know, your Aunt Carol's son just got an entry-level position at the bank. Pays well, good benefits. Maybe you should look into something stable." I tried, patiently, to explain that my company was growing, that we were hiring, that we were on the verge of something big. But they weren't listening. Their eyes, already clouded with preconceived notions, saw only what they wanted to see, their floundering son. The breaking point came when I mentioned a minor, temporary setback in our product development, a common occurrence in any startup, a hurdle we had already overcome. My father seized on it like a shark sensing blood. "See," he bellowed, his face reddening. "This is exactly what we've been telling you. This startup nonsense is unstable. It's a pipe dream. You're almost 30, and you have nothing to show for it." My mother, not to be outdone, added, "You're a burden, my name. We worry about you constantly. We've spent so much on your education, and for what? So you can waste your life chasing fantasies. You're a drain on us." I was stunned. A burden, a drain. After years of their subtle slights, these direct accusations felt like a punch to the gut. I tried to defend myself, to argue, but their words kept coming, each one sharper than the last. "Honestly," my mother continued, her voice rising, "if you're not going to get a real job, if you're not going to contribute, then maybe you should just go live in the streets. You're old enough to make your own way, and frankly, we're tired of supporting your delusions." My father nodded in agreement, his eyes cold. "She's right. It's time you learned what real life is like." Sarah, surprisingly, remained silent throughout the tirade, sipping her wine, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on her lips. It was then, in that moment, as their words echoed in the suddenly silent dining room, that something inside me snapped. The years of resentment, the pent-up frustration, the quiet hurt, it all coalesced into a steely resolve. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the wooden floor. I looked at them, truly looked at them, and saw not parents who loved me but two people who saw me as an extension of their own failures, a stain on their perfect family portrait. "Fine," I said, my voice surprisingly calm despite the storm raging inside me. "If that's how you feel, then maybe I should." I walked out, leaving my unfinished Thanksgiving meal, their shocked faces, and years of emotional baggage behind me. I drove away, not to the streets, as they had so cruelly suggested, but to my luxurious penthouse apartment, a tangible testament to the success they refused to acknowledge. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. My parents, who had just told me to go live in the streets, were completely oblivious to the fact that I was already earning $25 million and was about to finalize an acquisition deal that would make me even wealthier. I had been keeping my success a secret, partly because I didn't want to gloat, and partly because I honestly didn't think they would ever truly understand or appreciate it. Their idea of success was so narrow, so conventional, that my unconventional path would always be viewed with suspicion. But now, after their cruel words, after being told I was a burden and to go live on the streets, the idea of revealing my true financial status felt like a petty, unsatisfying revenge. It wouldn't erase the hurt. It wouldn't make them suddenly proud of me. It would only validate their materialistic world view. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have revealed everything in a blaze of glory, rubbing their noses in their mistake? Or would you have, like me, considered a more passive approach? The next 3 weeks were a whirlwind for me professionally. The acquisition deal for my company was finalized, valuing it at an astronomical sum, making my personal stake worth far more than the initial $25 million I had hinted at. I was officially a multimillionaire, a success by any metric, even my parents' narrow ones. But personally, I maintained my distance. I didn't call them, they didn't call me. The silence was deafening, yet oddly peaceful. Then, the first ripple of disaster struck their perfect world. My father, a seemingly untouchable figure in his corporate law firm, was implicated in a major financial scandal. Details were sparse at first, whispers in the news, but they quickly escalated. It wasn't just a minor oversight, it was a deep-seated conspiracy involving several high-ranking partners. My father, it turned out, was a key player. The firm, desperate to save its reputation, threw him under the bus. He was fired, disbarred, and faced potential criminal charges. Their family savings, tied up in various investments through his firm, were frozen as part of the investigation. My sister, Sarah, the golden child, also found her world unraveling. The company she worked for, a major competitor to a new market entrant, suddenly found itself on the losing end of a massive legal battle. And guess who owned the company that was suing them? My company. It was a completely unrelated business venture, a subsidiary I had quietly acquired months prior, but the irony was not lost on me. Sarah's company lost the lawsuit, facing crippling fines and a significant downturn in their stock. As a senior executive, Sarah's reputation was tarnished. Her stock options became worthless, and her perfect corporate career path veered sharply into uncertainty. She was laid off, along with hundreds of others. Within weeks, their entire financial edifice crumbled. My father's pension was in jeopardy, their savings were inaccessible, and Sarah was unemployed with a damaged professional record. The house, their pride and joy, was leveraged to the hilt, and with no steady income, mortgage payments became impossible. The phone calls started, tentative at first, then increasingly desperate. My mother, her voice thin and reedy, called, "Honey, have you heard about your father? It's just terrible. We don't know what we're going to do." I listened, offering vague sympathies, but no concrete help. She didn't ask for money directly, not yet, but the plea in her voice was unmistakable. Then Sarah called, her usual confidence replaced by a shaky uncertainty. "My company. It's a mess. I'm out of a job. Do you know anyone hiring in tech?" I told her I'd keep an ear out, knowing full well I could have offered her a dozen high-paying positions within my own vast network, but I didn't. The memory of her smirk at the Thanksgiving table was still too fresh. The final blow came 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, almost to the day. My parents' bank informed them that their house was going into foreclosure. They were going to lose everything. My mother called me, weeping hysterically, begging for help. "Please, my name, you're our son. We have nowhere to go. We're going to be on the streets." The words, almost identical to what she had said to me just weeks prior, hung in the air, a cruel echo. My father, too, called, his voice broken and defeated. "I'm so sorry, son. We were wrong about everything. Please, if there's anything you can do." I listened to their pleas, their desperation, their sudden humility. I could have stepped in. I could have bought their house, offered them jobs, wiped away all their problems with a single signature. The money was a pittance to me now, but I didn't. I told them, with a heavy heart, that I was unable to help. I explained that I had my own responsibilities, my own life, and that I couldn't jeopardize my own financial stability. It was a lie, of course, a deliberate, painful lie, but it was the only way I knew how to make them truly understand the weight of their own words. They had wanted me to learn what real life was like, to go live in the streets. And now, through a confluence of events, a twist of fate, they were facing that very reality themselves. I didn't cause their downfall, but I also didn't prevent it when I easily could have. They ended up selling their house in a distressed sale, moving into a small, rented apartment in a less desirable part of town. My father is still fighting his legal battles, facing disbarment and potential charges, his once proud career in ruins. Sarah is struggling to find work. Her once stellar resume now tainted by her former company's collapse. They are experiencing, firsthand, the harsh realities they so gleefully wished upon me. I don't visit them. I don't offer financial aid. I occasionally send my mother flowers on her birthday, a small gesture that costs me nothing, a whisper of a connection that remains. It's not because I'm heartless. It's because I needed them to feel the consequences, to understand the sting of their own words. The hurt they inflicted on me ran deep, and sometimes the best lessons are learned the hard way. I often wonder if they've connected the dots, if they realize that the company that inadvertently caused Sarah's downfall and the vast wealth I now possess are inextricably linked to the pipe dreams they so cruelly dismissed. I doubt it. Their blindness to my success was always profound. This whole mess has been a painful lesson for me, a testament to how quickly fortunes can turn and how cruel words can boomerang back. It taught me the true value of self, worth, independent of external validation, and the importance of surrounding myself with people who believe in me. So, what do you think? Was I wrong for letting them flounder, for not riding in on my white horse of millions to save them? Or did they, in a twisted way, get exactly what they deserved? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.